Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 9 of the 24 Tour de France, brought to you by Bicycle, the largest global marketplace for pre-owned bikes. With over 20,000 high-quality pre-owned and refurbished bikes available, Bicycle connects the buyers and sellers to make the process of buying and selling bikes safe, easy, and convenient. Remember, if you're selling a bike, to use the code ButterflyEffect24 for 0% seller fee. Now let's get into today's stage 9 because it's 199 kilometers, about 125 miles in length, and 14 crazy difficult white sands gravel stone courses here for the riders to get through. It's much like Strada Bianchi, but not quite as steep and hard. But they do have some steep climbs on the gravel stones here, just not quite as big as Strada Bianchi. But if you went to bed last night and you were one of the Tour de France pros here getting ready to start today's stage 9, your director sportif, if you're riding for the 4 biggest teams here, Bora Hansgrohe, UAE Team Emirates, Visma Lease Bike, and Soudal Quickstep. Your number one priority when you started stage 9 was don't lose time. The number one rule on the Butterfly Effect, don't leave your leader. The leader, don't leave your team until your team is all used up and they're dead and gone. Then you can do whatever you want. That's the number one rule on the Butterfly Effect. But the riders got to always keep in their mind fresh that the number one rule, the priority of today's stage, if you're one of those 4 leaders, and all 4 of the leaders are 1 minute and 36 seconds within each other. Primoz Roglic being at 1:36. We see just over a minute, Jonas Vingegaard and Remco Evenepoel's at about 35 seconds to Tadej Pogačar wearing the race leader's jersey. So the priority of today's race, don't lose time. Every one of those 4 riders will tell you that they would like to not have to do this race. So this isn't a race that'll make or break the general classification, as Tadej Pogačar has told us many times. It's a race that you can lose the Tour de France on, but you can't win the Tour de France. That's Tadej Pogačar's words, not even mine. But keep in mind, the priority, don't lose time. Now when the racing starts, we see a big group going up the road of about 10 dozen riders. In that group, Lotto Destiny, EF Education. Now they got riders in the back of the peloton attacking like crazy. Ben Healy's attacking like crazy, and Lotto Destiny's Delee's attacking like crazy when they got teammates up in the front. It's okay if you want to attack back there, but you got to let this first group get 30 seconds, 1 minute, 1 minute and a half up the road. Then start attacking, see if you can get a second selection. And that break's already gone, has your teammate in there. Then you start bridging up. That's a safe way to do it. Instead, they give that first group about 15, 25 seconds. Then Lotto's attacking, EF Education, they're knuckleheads too. Both those teams are at this moment early into stage 9 here of the Tour de France. And as they're attacking, they end up bringing their own teammates back that are in that front group. Those guys just wasted their energy. I don't know what you were doing. Your teammates chased you down. Now we got about 165 kilometers to go. We're going to see about a dozen riders slip off the front. When this dozen rider slips off the front with about 155 kilometers to go, they're up, they're gone away, and the gap is starting to grow there to the peloton. We come into the first of the gravelstone sections, sector 14, and we see Bora Hansgrohe's on the front. Primoz Roglic is doing a fantastic job with all his teammates, lighting it up on the front, keeping them in good position to start sector 14. We come into sector 13 for the peloton. The breaks up the road. We'll give it about 2 minute gap right now, maybe 2.5. And as the peloton's coming into this, Visma Lease Bike's on the front, UAE Team Emirates are on the front, Ineos are in a good position. Bora Hansgrohe are in the middle, and they're a little far back there. I'll call it about 15th position back there, maybe about 10th row. Now, as we see Bora Hansgrohe there, I don't know who they are, but I'll tell you later when we get to the top of the hill what's happening. They're coming into the 13th sector, and this happens to be one of the KOM climbs too, so it's steep and hard. And the road is slanted to the left. As the peloton comes flying in, we got Visma Lease Bike on the front. They're drilling at UAE Team Emirates, like I said, fine position at Ineos. Now, we look at the back of the peloton. It's all held up and stopped and blocked, and riders are crashing and falling all over each other. This is blocking the road, and when we look at the back of the peloton, there's some troubles back there because Bora Hansgrohe's got a host of riders back there. Big-time troubles. And we're talking about their main guys back there that should be solid on today's race. They're big guys. Van Poppel's back there and Mark Haller's back there. All of the big guys for Bora Hansgrohe are stuck back there. Now look further up as we look at the front of the peloton up there, way up at the top there of the gravel stones. And you're going to see Mathieu Vanderpool come shooting left out of the peloton as he's sure he's losing his tire, so he's got to shoot left. He drops down left and he goes into the gutter there. He's using his cyclocross skills right now magnificently as he's zigzagging up the gutter to get enough speed, and then when he gets enough speed, he pops back out onto the gravel stones and shoots across. We look up at the front of the peloton. There's a split. Visma bikes drilling it at the front, but they got some problems because Wout van Aert, if I back the film up, he was the one guy from Visma bike that wasn't at the front starting sector 13. Now we go up to the top. What's happening? Who are the main guys that made the split? Well, Visma bikes, Jonas Vingegaard made the split. That's why his team's on the front. Tadej Pogacar's up there. He's got teammates with him. And Remco Evenepoel's got at least one teammate with him. But where? Where is Primož Roglič? Well, if I back the film up and try to find him, he's missing the split. He was behind Mathieu van der Poel as he was zigzagging through the gutter there when he jumped his way back up. And when the split happened, Primož Roglič missed it. Now he's got some teammates with him as they're trying to pull back this front group. He's got two teammates on the front. He's got one teammate with him, so 4 total from Bora Hansgrohe. Maybe a 5th in there, but up front we got 2 Bora Hansgrohe riders drilling it as we're coming into the sprint line competition with 115 kilometer to go. Let me give you a 15-second quick ad from our sponsor, Bicycle. Remember to check them out in the description below. Now, as Primož Roglič is drilling it, they're coming through the sprint line competition. We look at the front of there, the GC favorites, aside from Tadej Pogačar, the ones in front of them. Well, Visma bike, I said, was on the front. But Ineos is on the front. And Quick-Step have a rider on the front. These two teams are knuckleheads. They're forgetting a priority. They do not want this group to go up the road because they don't have enough teammates. If Ineos start riding on the front, which they told you they're doing, and that guy blows, all of a sudden there's one less guy for Carlos Rodriguez. If they make it deeper, let's say they hold off Bora Hansgrohe right now, they make it deeper into the race and they get into one of the sectors of stones, and we have a flat for Carlos Rodriguez or Remco Evenepoel. They don't have enough teammates around them to help them solve this problem. I'll point out one obvious thing here from UAE team members at this moment. They're not on the front. If UAE team members are in this group and they're not pulling, and Visma bike's just rotating through with 1 or 2 riders up there, but they got 6, 7 riders in this front group, and they only have 1 or 2 riding, Ineos, you guys are knuckleheads. Zach Dempster, you're the director sportif from the Giro d'Italia, and you rode on stage 2. Now you're riding on stage 9, and you're going to leave Carlos Rodriguez in a difficult situation if he becomes isolated, and we still have 110 kilometers, 114 kilometers to go. Now, Bora Hansgrohe coming past the sprint line competition, you can tell they're close to the back end of the group to put all 4 of the favorite GC guys up there along with Carlos Rodriguez in the front group of the peloton, about 2 minutes behind the 12 riders in front. Now, it gets really exciting. We're coming into 100 kilometers to go. This is halfway in the race. Jonas Vingegaard looks back. He's got problems. His teammates start looking back as Jonas Vingegaard knows he needs some help. Next thing you know, we see Jan Tratnik on the side of the road, right side of the road, and he's pointing to the #1 plate on behind his seat post. That means he switched bikes with Jonas Vingegaard. Up front, UAE team members are driving it at the front. We see the splits back there. They got a couple teammates from Visma bike up front. But if I back the film up a little bit, I'll show you Christophe Laporte dropping over off to the left side of the road there as he's going back for Jonas Vingegaard. It only takes a moment, probably 1K later, and Jonas Vingegaard's in the back of the peloton. Shortly after that, they got him back at the front. UAE team members is up there, and Jonas Vingegaard's back riding Jan Tratnik's bike right now. Luckily for Jan Tratnik, or luckily for Jonas Vingegaard, they ride the same size bike right now. So Jan Tratnik's sitting on the side of the road. He doesn't have to drill it back there in the wing because he knows he's got his team captain already up at the front of the peloton and saved the Tour de France in 2024. Now, things are getting crazy excited. We're coming into the sector 10 here of the gravel stones, and as we're going up the climb, this happens to be one of the KOM too, and we're going to see Remco Evenepoel throw in a massive attack on the left side of the road. The Belgian wonder kid from Soudal Quick-Step, he's breaking the #1 rule on the butterfly effect, and he's breaking the #1 priority here on stage 9. Do not want to risk and put your neck out on the line with 75 kilometers to go, because the #1 priority is to get through this stage safely and don't lose time. Instead, Remco Evenepoel's doing a flyer up the left side of the road. Visma bikes, Jonas Vingegaard, super calm. Man, he is money right here on stage 9. 9. As he looks back over his shoulder, he wants to see if the Slovenian Tadej Pogačar is going. The Slovenian's not going, so Jonas Vingegaard stays right there. Remco Evenepoel's going solo, and now all of a sudden Tadej Pogačar throws in an attack. Jonas Vingegaard follows it quickly as the Slovenian Tadej Pogačar is closing up to the back wheel of Remco Evenepoel. Jonas Vingegaard hasn't had to do anything. Once we get 3 riders, 3 of the favorites, the biggest names in pro cycling here at the Tour de France on stage 9, all wrapped up together, Remco Evenepoel's throwing his finger around like this. He wants the other 2 riders to come through. Tadej Pogačar pulls through because the Slovenian's always up for doing some work. As he pulls through, we see Remco Evenepoel slot second wheel, Jonas Vingegaard still third. Now it starts getting a little grumpy up there because Jonas Vingegaard won't do any work, but they close up onto the original 12-rider breakaway up the road. Now what do you think was going to happen right here if you're one of the 3 favorites? Well, Jonas Vingegaard knows what's going to happen because he's been isolated from his team. That's why he's not working. He knows the priority is not to lose time on today's race. If you're isolated right now with 70 kilometers to go, you got a group of 12 right there with you. That means there's 15 riders up here, and you're all by yourself with no teammates. Jonas Vingegaard's using his brain right now. He's racing absolutely intelligently by not taking a pull right now. I know some of you sitting at home at the Chesterfield, you guys are like, Primoz Roglic is back there. You can gain time on Primoz Roglic and Carlos Rodriguez. Jonas Vingegaard is not worried about Primoz Roglic. He's worried about Tadej Pogačar. He's worried about Remco Evenepoel, as he should be. He's isolated. The group is 15 now that they caught the break. And then finally, Remco Evenepoel, Tadej Pogačar realized that Jonas Vingegaard won't pull. Didn't take much thinking to realize that he wouldn't pull. If you go back to other years at the Tour de France, he never puts his neck out on the line at moments he doesn't have to. He does it many times when he's trying to win big, but this kid knows how to race intelligently. Now the breakaway riders realize the three best riders in the world aren't going to work together. We go back to the peloton as we see Remco Evenepoel, Tadej Pogačar, and Jonas Vingegaard sat up, and we see Bora Hansgrohe pulling on the front with Primoz Roglic. Everything comes back together now. We got about 60 riders in the peloton. Now we come under 44 kilometers to go. Vlasov ends up riding off the side of the road, gets his wheels caught there on the concrete. As he tries to get back up on the pavement, his bike shoots out. He goes down to the left into the gutter, and the bike goes flipping in the air, and Vlasov is hurting right now. His mechanic's there quickly. Vlasov comes back up to jump on his bike. As he goes to get back up on his bike, he throws his leg over the saddle, but he loses it just a little bit and has to step back off the bike. Looks like he's got concussion. But if you look at the picture a little closer, well, his shoe's only halfway onto the pavement. He climbed out of the ditch, got his shoe about halfway on the pavement, so when he went to step up, his shoe's starting to fall back and he's losing some momentum. He's panicking right now. Does he have a concussion? I can't tell you that. Even Vlasov can't at this moment. Did it look like it? Yes, but if you look at his shoe, it could easily be a balance thing, so the mechanic gets him on the bike, gives him a push, and Vlasov's back up on the road. He's chasing full gas. He'll get back onto the group, and you'll see him all taped up on the right side where he ripped up his whole kit back there on the left side of his body and in his left arm, not the right. As he gets back to the back of the group, well, we're coming into about 40 kilometers to go. Mathieu van der Poel, Biniam Girmay, they go up the road in about a group of 8. Now, at this moment, if you're Mathieu van der Poel, I don't know if you should be working in this group. It depends on how good his form is. What I've seen in the first 8 stages, Mathieu van der Poel couldn't guarantee me a stage win right here for Alpecin de Koenig, so I don't know if I like him in this move because he's got the green points jersey there from Biniam Girmay with him. But I can't make this call. His director sportif and Mathieu van der Poel have to understand what kind of fitness he has on stage 9 right at this moment, because if you don't have enough to drop everyone, bridge the group, and win the stage, then you're a knucklehead right now for pulling Biniam Girmay and giving him a shot at more green jersey points over their teammate Jasper Philipsen from Alpecin de Koenig. Well, they're decided to go with that group of 8. But they got 2 riders sitting on the back because EF Education and Israel Premier Tech back there, they got no reason to pull at the moment. It's Rui Costa back there. And the other guy from Israel Premier Tech's my old teammate, Jakob Fogelsick. So they're sitting on wisely because they got teammates in the front group, and no one wants to bring Mathieu van der Poel and Biniam Girmay up to that front group that has Ben Healy up there and Derek G in the front group. Now, as the peloton back there is kind of going a little bit slower, it's regrouping, it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and UAE Team Emirates, along with Visma Lease bike, are on the front at different times. We start going into 22 kilometers to go, Sector 4, well, Tadej Pogačar, it's time to put on another show. The Slovenian throws in a huge attack. We'll see Jorgensen, we'll see Laporte there. We see Jonas Vingegaard's on the back of the wheel, 4th position. Remco Evenepoel's missed the split. Primoz Roglic has missed the split. As we look up front again at the next 4, Tadej Pogacar's throwing down. This is some deep gravel right now. Jonas Vingegaard can't quite hold the wheel, and he starts coming off. Once he does, look at Christophe Laporte right now, who's got his best legs of the season. There's no doubt about it. Here on stage 9, Laporte is back to fine form. He slots out to the left side, looks back, sees Jonas Vingegaard has problem. He drops back for Jonas Vingegaard, his teammate, and starts drilling it on the front while Tadej Pogacar is drilling it up front with Jorgensen. At this moment, what should Jorgensen do? Well, if it was me and I was Jorgensen and knew exactly what was happening, the director sportif's telling me in the radio, I wait till you come off the gravel sections, and once they get on the pavement, I already start backing off of the Slovenian Tadej Pogacar because there's no reason for you to be there. Jorgensen holds on to Tadej Pogacar's wheels. Christophe Laporte's doing the work back there, coming off of this Sector 4 section here and getting on the pavement. Jorgensen's still not dropping back. Then all of a sudden, Jorgensen must have got the word in the ear there from his director sportif that Jonas Vingegaard's in trouble. Jorgensen drops off the back. The Slovenian Tadej Pogacar is going solo right now at the front, but Jorgensen's dropping back for Jonas Vingegaard. Now somehow the American rider Matteo Jorgensen has found some legs and he bridges back up to Tadej Pogacar with Jonas Vingegaard on his wheel. What does Jonas Vingegaard do? Sits on Tadej Pogacar. Tadej Pogacar knows the 2 riders behind from Visma bike won't do any work, so he backs off. I backed the film up a little bit. What was happening? Remco Evenepoel was blazing through the group there as he was about 10th position when the split happened, but now you see him on the front drilling it as Remco Evenepoel's coming up to the back of the 3 riders in front again to close the gap up to Tadej Pogacar and Jonas Vingegaard. Well, Primoz Roglic is in this group too. Wasn't at the front, but he's in the group. Somehow the second Slovenian here, Primoz Roglic from Red Bull Hansgrohe, has done a fantastic job of getting back up to the GC guys every time they've thrown in attacks. He's raced wisely right now for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe at this moment. Now, we go up to the front of the group. We got about 10, 12 riders up there as the 3 caught the 9, and guys have started to drop from the group, but there's still about 10, if not 11 riders up there. We're coming into 11 kilometers to go. We see Stuyven, Jasper Stuyven from Lidl Trek throwing an attack with 11 kilometers to go. He's going up the left side of the road as there's a little bit of chaos behind. They're coming into about 10 kilometers to go. Jasper Stuyven still got a lead, and he's hitting the Sector 1. It's the last sector here on stage 9 of the Tour de France, as Stuyven's has got a lead of about 8 seconds. They're still not working beautifully back there. From my educated guess sitting there on the Chesterfield, I tell you that Ben Healy's pulling, Derek G's pulling, and Tom Pidcock from Ineos is up there pulling 100%. But everybody else is sitting on back there as the 3 riders are rotating, trying to bring back Stuyven's. Stuyven's is still holding about an 8-second gap. He'll get into about 2 kilometers to go. He's still got that 8-second gap, but things are starting to change in the back as we see that first big attack from Ben Healy going up the left side. We'll see that Derek G follows it directly behind Alexei Lusenko from Astana, throws in the attack from the group behind as he's closing back up to the 2 riders in front. He shoots right past them. Stuyven's coming in to 1.1 kilometer to go, and he's got about 2-3 seconds as we look at Alexei Lusenko closing the gap up, and he'll close it up at 900 meters to go. The next attack that's happening at the front, well, let's take you back to the GC, guys, before we finish today's stage 9. We go back to the GC group. It's the final sector here, Sector 1. Tadej Pogacar's throwing in another acceleration. He can't break the grip from Jonas Vingegaard as the Visma bike riders solidly locked on to Tadej Pogacar. As they come out of this last sector, that's it for the peloton. There's no more attacks from the GC favorites. Now let's go up to 900 meters to go because we're coming into 7 now, and it's Ben Healy throwing in the first attack. With the attack from Ben Healy, he's directly followed behind. He'll pull into about 350 meters to go. Then Alexei Lusenko throws in his attack. Derek G follows it, throws in his attack at 200 meters to go. Then 100 meters to go. Anthony Turgis, Total Energy, starts his sprint for the line. The Total Energy rider breaks out to the right side, throws in a huge acceleration. Tom Pidcock's locked on his wheel, but nobody can come around Anthony Turgis as he wins stage 9 here of the 24 Tour de France. Second on the stage, Tom Pidcock. Third, Derek G from Israel Premier Tech to round out the podium here on stage 9. Now, it was a fantastic stage win for Turgis. I did not do him justice. I'm sorry, I can't. The stage was too exciting. When we look at the GC guys, they'll come in just around a minute and a half back there from the front group up here of Derek G and Anthony Turgis. But There was so much going on. I know I left a little love out for Turgis, so I'm going to give him a little bit right now. He was in the first breakaway of the day. He was in the second breakaway of the day. He was in the break when they got caught from Tadej Pogačar, Remco Evenepoel, and Jonas Vingegaard. He was the last of the 3 riders to start bridging across to the 9 that attacked first, the Tadej Pogačar group. He got back up to those guys. He waited back there wisely all the way into 100 meters to go, and then he won today's Tour de France Stage 9. Tip of the hat up here to Anthony Turgis from Total Energy on the butterfly effect for winning today's stage. All the GC guys, they stayed about the same in the top 10, except for Derek G. Bumped himself up a little bit more with that little cushion here, finishing with the lead group on stage 9. It was a magnificent stage, but when I really break it down, the biggest priority was to get through the stage and not lose time. Tadej Pogačar wasted energy, broke the #1 rule on the butterfly effect, and the #1 priority that you wanted today's stage. Stay safe, get to the finish. Yes, he got to the finish, but he wasted a ton of energy. And anytime, if you're like, well, Jonas Vingegaard was coming out the back right there, he could have dropped him. Well, Jonas Vingegaard would have went back. His team Visma Lease bike would have started pulling. Ineos would have started pulling. Primoz Roglic, Bora Hansgrohe rider started pulling. Tadej Pogačar was not going to gain much. But if I take you back to his solo, the first attack of the day when he was going down the descent, when we still had 100 kilometers to go thereabouts, and Tadej Pogačar was throwing his attack coming down the descent, if everyone just sat up right then and let the Slovenian go up the road, unless he was going to buy off those group of 12 that was in the original break in front of him, he had no help. He'd have been out there all day long. The rest of the time, every time there was a split, with the exception of 22 kilometers to go when he threw in that attack, that one I liked. Everything he did before that, UAE team members were knucklehead. They were risking too much with Tadej Pogačar attacking from too far out. Remco Evenepoel, you were certainly racing like an amateur with your head. Your legs are professional, but your heads are amateur. Jonas Vingegaard, something amazing here on today's stage 9. I know everyone's sitting on the Chesterfield like, come on, man, there was plenty of reasons to work. No, there wasn't. If he got up the road and he had any kind of problems, or Tadej Pogačar dropped him like he did with 22 kilometers to go, and he didn't have Laporte around him and he didn't have Jorgensen around him, he'd have been in problems. If Tadej Pogačar had flatted, he'd have been in problems. If Remco Evenepoel had flatted, he'd have been in problems. Those two guys are knuckleheads. Jonas Vingegaard, you were brilliant. Primoz Roglic, your legs weren't as sharp as we were used to seeing, but at the Giro d'Italia last year when you won on the penultimate stage individual time trial, maybe that happens here at the Tour de France. You raced remarkably well, put all your teammates on the front at the right time, and only rode in the wind at the right time when you had to. So congratulations, Jonas Vingegaard, Primoz Roglic, getting through stage 9 the correct way. Tadej Pogačar, Remco Evenepoel, I loved it from the Chesterfield, but you guys are knuckleheads, and I'm not up here to give foot massages. Your swan year can do that tonight because you're going to need it. Like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next edition real soon.